Breaking on this special edition of 4 News Now, the Spokane City Council is updating its camping ordinance. We'll break down the new plan to get people off the street.
I'm tracking some windy weather and a chance to pick up some rain in the days ahead.
And are pallet homes the solution to the homeless crisis? How they work and how much it could cost to house everyone in Washington's largest homeless encampment. You're watching a special edition of 4 News Now. The Philadelphia Eagles are now 2-0, defeating the Minnesota Vikings 24-7. We're going to have highlights from tonight's game later on in sports, but thank you for watching with us. We start with breaking news tonight. The Spokane City Council voted to update its illegal camping laws, saying it's to protect people from situations that can pose a threat to public health and safety. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Kirsten O'Connor.
And I'm Aaron Luna. It was originally proposed by City Council President Brian Baggs and Councilwoman Lori Kinnear to better align with federal law. The update includes prohibiting camping at all times, regardless of shelter space, within 50 feet of any railroad viaduct and 3 blocks of any homeless shelter. It also bans it anywhere police consider it a threat to the public or government facilities. We're now learning more about another resource that's being used across the West Coast and in Washington, using tiny homes to house the homeless.
It's an idea that we've been hearing about here in Spokane as the homeless population does continue to grow. But what would it take to actually bring those to our community to assist the homeless people here? More specifically, what would it cost? So Pallet is one of several companies that develop tiny homes as a way to combat homelessness. And according to their website, the smallest tiny home is 64 square feet and costs around $7,500. To house every individual living in Camp Hope, that total cost would run about $4.8 million. But people living in Camp Hope have told us that they're holding on to a promise. Very few are utilizing nearby shelters because many are under the impression they'll qualify for a tiny home if they stay at the encampment. And that means that they'll miss out on the opportunity if they leave.
Yeah, over the course of the last 2 weeks, we've had 38 individuals indicate that they came here from Camp Hope.
That's Brad Baker, the director of the Trent Resource Center. He tells 4 News Now that they are seeing other homeless individuals across the county utilize the Trent shelter. About 25 people from Camp Hope are consistently using it. So far, there are no plans to bring a pallet community to Spokane in the immediate future. It's the last few days of summer, but fall weather's already here.
Yeah, and you might want to keep some extra blankets handy if you're going to watch some TV on the couch late night. We're going to send it over to meteorologist Matt Gray. He's in for Chris with a look at that forecast. Matt?
Yeah, just keep watching the TV, sitting on the couch. Watch us here on 4 News Now, right? All right, 60s outside at the moment, and yeah, it's felt like fall for several days now, and we're going to keep that trend going as we head into tonight and into tomorrow. So there are nice evenings shaping up around the area. It is a little bit breezy out there, and that is something that we're going to be watching for tomorrow. We're expecting that it's going to be a blustery day. You can see 10-mile-an-hour winds still out on the West Plains, and Omak has been consistently windy today. That's a pattern that we're going to see rear its head again as we get into tomorrow. So a really nice night, whether you're staying up late or going to bed and cracking open the windows. Beautiful conditions, mid-50s, dropping to the 40s as we get into the early hours of the morning. Now, 4 things you got to know about your weather as we head into a new week. Cool and blustery for tomorrow. A little dusty as well in parts of the inland northwest. More of that autumn chill. We'll show you some parts of our region that are going to be much cooler than the 40s. And a chance for some rain as we get closer to the first day of fall, which is on Thursday. I'll show you when you might have to break out the rain gear coming up.
Matt, thank you. Now to more breaking news tonight. A man is charged with assault for stabbing his friend and attacking a first responder. The sheriff's office says that 22-year-old Bobby Lewis stabbed the victim he allowed to stay in his home. Lewis then ran to a nearby field, and medical officials arrived on scene to help. Lewis's shirt was covered in blood, and he appeared to be drunk. He then tackled someone to the ground, but deputies were able to pull Lewis off and arrest him. The victim suffered non-life-threatening injuries. One of 2 Riverside High School students involved in a crash last week has died. It happened at the intersection of Elk Chattaroy Road and Nelson Road. She and the driver were airlifted to the hospital. Neither of them were wearing seatbelts at the time of the crash.
A 26-year-old Athol, Idaho man was hit and killed by a train early this morning. Idaho State Police says the Amtrak train was headed to Sandpoint when the crash happened at the Granite Loop Road Railway crossing. That's just north of Athol. The railway was shut down for 2 hours as first responders investigated. It's estimated that 2,100 people are killed each year in the U.S. by being hit by a train. 55 were killed last year in Washington.
Cutting lanes to curb speeds. That's what's happening now on Sprague Avenue in Spokane Valley. The city says people are driving way too fast there, and they're testing out fewer lanes to see if that makes a difference. So here's where it's all happening. Sprague Avenue between University Road and Herald Road, now down to 3 lanes. Traffic engineers say fewer lanes can still keep up with the traffic needs in that area. And our Esther Bauer shows us what's new.
You'll see these orange poles lining the streets and keeping cars out of these lanes. The goal comes down to safety. It's something local business owners say needs work in this area. Travis Brown watches chaos unfold from his storefront on Sprague. Drivers are supposed to go 35 miles per hour down this road. That isn't happening. The city says on any given day, they're clocking over 100 people driving 50 miles an hour. It isn't safe, and this change is supposed to help.
People are flying down the road, and it is almost a freeway at sometimes. When people are traveling that fast and somebody goes the wrong way, it's not a pretty sight.
They also want to improve pedestrian safety. The city wants to install a blinking crosswalk near City Hall, and fewer lanes means pedestrians can get across the street quicker. This is only a pilot project through the end of October. Engineers want to hear from you before making this update permanent. Head on over to KXLY.com to share your thoughts on this traffic change and see how this project could also improve Spokane Valley's aquifer. Reporting from Sprague Avenue, Esther Bauer, 4 News Now.
Take a look at this. It's a dangerous intersections at getting some safety improvements. Check on the progress coming up on 4 News Now.
Track live radar on the 4 News Now weather app.
More Americans choose ABC News, America's #1 news source.
At 4 News Now, we believe you should expect more from local news. Our team is committed to a community conversation and bringing you information you need when and where you need it. Numerica believes in and supports that mission.
We actually have a new service that we're providing with video banking. We're here to really help them and connect on a way that other institutions really can't.
It's time to jump back into the gym and see all the new upgrades we've made over the summer with the most exciting offer we've had in years as we celebrate our 8-year anniversary with a Join Now for only $8 special offer.
Join the movement. Dear night owls, when darkness falls, our stunning style takes flight as we soar over city streets. And our fuel economy is ever so wise. This ride's a hoot. Trust us, Toyota sedans.
Every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care, our no-cost maintenance plan. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Spokane Tribe Casino's latest expansion is ready for you to enjoy. With double the square footage, there's no shortage of fun. Try one of the over 300 new slot games and have a bite to eat at the just opened Grill and Bar restaurant. There's even a larger non-smoking area. Plus, the all-new poker room and Caesar Sportsbook are now open. Rake in your share of prizes every Saturday and Sunday with the Fallen Cash kiosk game. You could win free slot play, bonus points, or win up to $1,000 cash. Only at Spokane Tribe Casino. You just win here.
4 News Now welcomes Kirsten O'Connor. You expect more from local news. Important information that makes a difference to you. Kirsten O'Connor delivers. And that's what we mean when we say, expect more. Get to know Kirsten, weeknights on 4 News Now.
Dear Exit Strategy, all your pieces are in place. A tranquil lake, a serene sky, an emerald forest, a secret hideout. Thanks for being there, just when I need you most. Always Toyota SUVs.
Every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care, our no-cost maintenance plan with roadside assistance. Visit your local Toyota dealer to learn more. Reserve yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
A work work is underway. Major improvements in the Loon Lake area. There's been quite a few bad crashes there over the years.
The community's been advocating for this for quite some time. You might be familiar with the intersection of highways 292 and 395 right outside of Loon Lake. Emily Bloom is there to explain what this means for businesses in the area.
Loon Lake Pizza and Ice Cream, that's the business right there on the corner. They are closed for the next 2 weeks because of this construction project. We spoke to the owner today, and he tells us that despite that, he knows that this is all going to be well worth it. And once all of this construction is done and over with, he's not the only business owner that's going to be letting out a sigh of relief.
A huge impact. It's going to make it so much safer for us to get in and out of here. I mean, it's been so dangerous for so long.
Gail Hoskins has been the owner of Top Notch Tree Service for over 7 years. Through that time, his employees have had to make this dangerous turn many times. He's seen the consequences of this intersection too many times, and he's been advocating since the beginning.
My family going through here, trying to get across. My mom's been hit on this intersection, my grandma, my uncle, so lots of friends.
A lot of community involvement asking for this roundabout, asking for these safety enhancements, and we're just really happy to be able to finally get it in.
Pete Corley with Washington DOT tells us this is one of the higher risk intersections in the eastern region, and their intent is to reduce not only the frequency of crashes here, but the severity too. This 2-week project could mean delays, but we're told it'll be well worth it. Overnight single lane closures will be in place Monday through Friday. Travelers could be delayed up to 20 minutes during the paving portion, and the intersection at Highway 292 will be closed completely for the next 2 weeks. Beyond the safety improvements for traffic here, they're also going to be putting in 2 crosswalks so people can safely cross the 395. Reporting in Loon Lake, Emily Bloom, 4 News Now.
A one-time opportunity for Spokane's first suburb. A group of Cannon Hill neighbors say they want to preserve the beautiful architecture.
Yeah, and homeowners are going to decide if the neighborhood will become a historic district. Ballots were recently mailed out. Neighbors know more people will move in and they want to keep the current feel alive. The historic title applies to over 500 homes within the district. Supporters say it protects structures, but it doesn't put up red tape. Changes to exteriors facing the street would undergo review, and it doesn't regulate fencing, landscaping, garages, structures, or paint colors.
Trying for is your children and your children's children will have that feeling. Now I'm getting all... Are you getting choked? I am. Will have that same feeling when they walk through the neighborhood.
If passed, it'll apply to all new building permits and homes built before 1955. The committee needs 50% plus 1 to receive a vote from City Council. Ballots are due back November 15th.
Washington is now one of 12 states that allow students to take excused mental health days. This means schools can now accept mental health symptoms in the definition of an excused absence, just like if they were physically sick. It formalizes allowing students to take days off to care for their mental health, including for counseling, behavioral health appointments. The law does not allow students to excuse themselves, and each district will come up with its own requirements. For example, if a parent or doctor's note will be needed to determine whether an absence is excused.
The perfect storm that hit SeaTac Airport is clear and things are back to normal. People trying to catch a plane, though, yesterday found themselves in lines that snaked out of the terminal and into the parking garage. Ooh, this is a nightmare. Despite 24 of 29 security gates being open, people say they were stuck in line for more than 2 hours. The airport says it was a combination of normal passengers and the end of cruise season, with nearly 4,000 cruise ship passengers arriving every hour.
It was terrible this morning. People packed out the doors down the runway there.
Today's traffic at the airport was still heavy, but not nearly that long wait.
Federal regulators have rejected an airline's request to slash commercial pilot hiring standards to combat the ongoing pilot shortage. Regional airline Republic Airways asked the FAA in April to allow graduates of its own Lift Academy to become airline co-pilots within 750 hours of flight experience. The FAA said it denied the request after it determined the airline's new training program does not provide an equivalent level of safety as 1,500 hours of flight experience.
We're going to see a little bit of a weather whiplash as we head into the first official days of fall. Some storminess and then, well, maybe some shorts weather as well. Lots of ups and downs. It'll take you through in your forecast coming up.
Stream 4 News now on your TV for free with the KXLY Plus app.
It's Ford SUV season. Time to gear up for changing conditions on and off-road. Get great deals on our most capable lineup of Ford SUVs, including Ford Explorer and Bronco Sport. Both rated 2022 IIHS top safety picks, and both designed to give you greater confidence. Hurry, Ford SUV season will end soon. Now, get $1,000 bonus cash on 2022 EcoSport, Escape, Edge, or Explorer. Only at your local Ford dealer.
Sometimes people just want to disappear. But then there's people who make them disappear.
We're gonna find him. Damn right we are.
Oh, come on, honey. Just nature, cycle of life.
I'm always walking after midnight.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
At your locally owned Ace, we've got exactly what you need, exactly when you need it, even if you don't know exactly what it's called.
A thingamajig.
A whatchamacallit. A doohickey.
Thingamabob.
A doodad.
Ace has a huge selection of nuts, bolts, plumbing, and electrical supplies in stock. And at Ace, our experts ask just the right questions to make sure you leave with exactly what you need. Whether it's a whatchamacallit or a thingamajig, come see us today.
The idea of owning a home was a really big dream of mine. It felt kind of like a pipe dream. When I think of a mortgage advisor, I think of someone who is stuffy, not approachable or friendly. But then we went to BECU and I met Lauren. She was like, this is what we're gonna do. This is how you make it happen. This is how you buy a home. And it wasn't scary or overwhelming. Watching my daughter grow up in a home that we own is amazing. My mortgage advisor changed my life and my family's life.
Acclaimed producer-director Michael Mann brings the heat and a touch of sin to Vice City. Join Private Eye Dan Hanna as he hits the Strip in his iconic 57 Ford Thunderbird and lethal right hook.
Don't hit me! I just had my teeth kept!
Watch Heroes and Icons over the air on KXLY 4.3.
More Americans choose ABC News, America's #1 news source.
The red planet has caught the eye of NASA's newest space telescope. The James Webb Telescope captured these images of Mars. Wow. Scientists say they reveal a unique perspective on the planet. They hope to capture the planet's seasonal changes, dust storms, and more weather. Speaking of the weather, we have a friend over here who knows a lot about the weather, right, Matt?
And I know a little bit about the weather on Mars. I remember I was reading something one time where it said that it actually does snow a little bit on Mars. I know, pretty cool, right? Well, we're not going to talk about snow in this forecast. We're going to wait many, many months before that, hopefully. At least 2, hopefully 3. All right. Northwest tonight, 66 right now in Spokane, 65 in Coeur d'Alene. It is a beautiful evening. Got down to the 40s in Spokane this morning, at least down in the West Plains. And another day where it is calm and without rain. Big change from this weekend where we got at least a few sprinkles. We're going to cool off pretty similarly tonight. 48 for Spokane officially, 49 in Coeur d'Alene, low 40s on the Palouse. You look to the north, especially north of Deer Park, you head kind of into the Spirit Lake area. We're talking about middle and upper 30s. And so if you have some calm conditions in the morning, which I think some of those protected valley areas might see some areas of patchy frost. That's right. We're getting to that time of the year. It feels with kind of our late summer and our late end of the summer as well. Late start, late end. It kind of feels like everything's coming up really quickly. 72 degrees tomorrow in general. Windy, blustery conditions. A little bit dusty in central Washington as well. See some of that dust kicked up with those north winds. And generally expect the breeziest time of the day to between lunchtime and about 6 o'clock. We'll see gusts about 20, 25 miles an hour around Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. It'll get more into the 30s as you head further to the west. It's also going to be a little bit warmer in the lower Columbia Basin than 72. We're talking about maybe 77, 78 degrees in many areas. And so that's why there is a fire weather watch in effect for Tuesday afternoon. And that goes from Brewster all the way up to the Canada border along the Okanagan River. So something to keep in mind, and really everybody should keep this in mind. Just because it has been cool does not mean that a windy day can still kind of kick things off as far as fires go, because everything is parched dry. The rain we saw this weekend didn't do much of anything. Still, pretty nice looking day. Lots of sunshine. It's going to be a beautiful Tuesday overall. Highs about 72 for Spokane, as I mentioned. Omak gets to 76. Grand Coulee 79, 75 in Pullman, and in the 80s in Lewiston. That brings us to our extended forecast, right? So here's this big swirl. This is our storm, and this is that weather whiplash I was talking about, because it is headed our direction. Here is Wednesday night, and here comes the rain as that storm tracks back up to the north. And as we go into Thursday morning, well, we're pretty confident that there's going to be some wet weather in North Idaho. How far west this goes, still some debate on that. Right now, I think there's still a pretty good chance for Spokane to pick up some rain. Head west of that, however, I think we're still going to end up dry from this system, and then cloudy skies and mountain showers as we head into Friday. But at least for the first day of fall, even if you don't get some showers at your house, it'll still be much cooler. 66 for Thursday, 60s again for Friday, and then look at this weekend. I told you we were talking about shorts weather again. Nice weekend, and then we're heating up even more after that. 80 degrees, or at least very close to it, by this time 1 week from now.
An emotional end to the long goodbye. Britain always knew this day would come, but that didn't make it any easier. Queen Elizabeth II was laid to rest this afternoon. Crowds lined the streets of London to watch the procession with the royal family and all parts of Britain's armed forces.
President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden were at the funeral, along with hundreds of dignitaries and heads of state from around the world. ABC's Faith Abube is in London with the latest.
Stirring scenes of British pageantry and royal tradition on full display for Queen Elizabeth's final goodbye. Bells from London to Windsor tolling through the Queen's funeral. The coffin met with a gun salute at Windsor Castle for that final mile to her resting place at St. George's Chapel. In London, members from every branch of Britain's military on hand for the rare state funeral. It began Monday morning at Westminster Hall. Pallbearers drawing the gun carriage with the Queen's flag-draped coffin, adorned with a wreath of flowers, the imperial crown, scepter, and orb. King Charles leading his siblings and his children in a royal procession behind the Queen's coffin to Westminster Abbey, the church where Queen Elizabeth was crowned as a monarch more than 70 years ago and where she was married. The Queen's great-grandchildren joining the procession inside the church, filled with about 2,000 mourners, including hundreds of dignitaries and heads of state. The grief of the royal family visible during the service. The King's eyes welling with tears while the choir sang, "God Save the King." Authorities estimate about 1 million well-wishers crowded central London streets to see the solemn event, some of them watching in mournful silence, others clapping in reverence.
That was the lump in the throat moment, I think, when the coffin came by and so slowly, and the family behind.
The emotional farewell to Queen Elizabeth II, capping 10 days of public mourning, where tens of thousands waited up to 24 hours in line to pay their final respect. Others camping out for days just to see this moment. Britain's longest reigning monarch now laid to rest. And after the public ceremony, the royal family participated in a private service and then laid Queen Elizabeth II down to rest next to her late husband, Prince Philip, at St. George's Chapel. A new era has now begun. In London, Faith Abube, ABC News.
A public health crisis just waiting to happen. That's how the Food and Drug Administration Commissioner described nicotine gummies when it comes to our nation's youth. In a warning letter to one of the companies that makes nicotine gummies, the FDA says the products are being sold illegally. Company website for VPR brand says the products are for adults and the gummies have been discontinued, but other companies may be appealing to kids with other candy-looking nicotine products. In a recent study, about 10% of 9th and 10th graders surveyed reported use of e-cigarettes. Health experts say parents should be aware and talk to their children about the dangers.
Nausea, vomiting, changes in blood pressure, seizure, coma, and even death. Not to mention that nicotine is addictive and also can affect the growing brain in terms of potentially causing learning and memory problems.
The American Lung Association has criticized the FDA, saying the gummies were on the market for half a year before the agency sent its warning letter. Spokesperson for the organization says it's a sign that there will probably be many more kid-friendly nicotine products to come. 4 News Now, we'll be right back.
Sign up for breaking news alerts with the 4 News Now app.
When I was told I had a brain tumor, my life disappeared in a moment. I feared for my future, but even more, I feared for the ones I love. How would they move on without me? But when my doctor told me about the Gamma Knife of Spokane, everything changed. I can get my brain tumor treated in just 1 day and continue living the life I love. Because of Gamma Knife, I have hope.
It's time to jump back into the gym and see all the new upgrades we've made over the summer with the most exciting offer we've had in years as we celebrate our 8-year anniversary with a Join Now for only $8 special offer.
Join the movement.
At Dishman Dodge Ram Chrysler Jeep, during Ram Power Days, Dishman is offering extra savings and delayed payments with incredible financing options to give you more trucks for less bucks. It's the perfect play, brought to you by the All-Star team at Dishman.
Spokane Tribe Casino's latest expansion is ready for you to enjoy. With double the square footage, there's no shortage of fun. Try one of the over 300 new slot games and have a bite to eat at the just opened Grill and Bar restaurant. There's even a larger non-smoking area. Plus, the all-new poker room and Caesar Sportsbook are now open. Rake in your share of prizes every Saturday and Sunday with the Fallen Cash kiosk game. You could win free slot play, bonus points, or win up to $1,000 cash. Only at Spokane Tribe Casino. You just win here.
Tell me the whole story.
I'm on my way.
I'm a private investigator.
Why do I get the feeling there's more to this story?
Oh, don't worry. I have a plan. All the pieces go together. Book 'em.
Watch Heroes and Icons over the air on KXLY 4.3.
Dear Exit Strategy, all your pieces are in place. A tranquil lake, a serene sky, an emerald forest, a secret hideout. Thanks for being there, just when I need you most. Always Toyota SUVs.
Every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care, our no-cost maintenance plan with roadside assistance. Visit your local Toyota dealer to learn more. Reserve yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
More Americans choose ABC News, America's #1 news source.
Well, the Washington State Cougars are coming off their best-looking performance of this season, beating Colorado State 37-7 on Saturday afternoon to wrap up non-conference play. And it was a battle for the team to even get to this point, but the schedule doesn't get any easier as they welcome in the 15th-ranked Oregon Ducks this coming weekend, who are a bit of an enigma this season themselves. The Ducks opened up their season by getting their doors blown off by Georgia, managing just 3 points all day long and less than 315 yards of total offense, which sounds insane because when you think of Oregon, you associate them with some of the best offense in the country. But then they followed up with 2 weeks later with a throttling of BYU. So it's tough to say how good this team actually is. What we know they are good at is protecting the quarterback. The offensive line hasn't given up a sack all season long, and Washington State head coach Jake Dickert was impressed with how they're able to keep QB Bo Nix upright all season long.
So they've actually had a lot of different pieces in and out of the lineup through 3 games up front. But, yeah, a lot of short, intermediate quicks when they plan to take their shots down the field. They get a lot of max protection. So it's getting the ball out of his hands, but it's also a quarterback that's confident in the scheme and knows where he wants to go. And they're giving him some clean reads, and he's getting the ball out and letting their playmakers make plays in space. So definitely a combination, but even a stat I didn't know. But, you know, they've been keeping him clean, and I think it's a combination of how good they are and what they're trying to do offensively.
And it'll be yet another day game for the Cougs as they will kick off from Martin Stadium at 1 in the afternoon on Saturday. And coming out of this weekend, the Seattle Mariners were not in a good place, losers of 3 straight, and their best hitter, Eugenio Suarez, going down with a hand injury, and the team might lead literally limping to the end of the regular season. But today, a chance to salvage their series against the Angels. Now, the Mariners offense got right to it in the top of the first. All-star Ty France lines the ball into the left field corner. J.P. Crawford is going to hustle all the way from first base, slides in safely, and it's 1-0 Mariners. but as it would turn out, they wouldn't need a whole lot of offense on the day. Well, that's because Logan Gilbert was dealing. In the second, he gets Mike Ford swinging to strike out the side. He would go 6 innings, only giving up 1 run on 4 hits and striking out 11 batters. And we mentioned not a whole lot of need for offense today. Well, Carlos Santana didn't get that memo in the 5th with the bases loaded. He'll send this ball out of the park for the grand slam, his 18th home run on the season, and Seattle's starting to pull away in this one. But just for good measure, in the 7th, Ty France will send this to dead center for a 3-run home run, and the Mariners piling it on now as they finally get the offense going in the last game of the series. As they take this one 9-1 down in Anaheim. Seattle's still in that last wild card spot, but currently 4 games up on Baltimore, so that's good news for them with 2 weeks to go. Team's going to start a 3-game series out in Oakland starting tomorrow.